Welcome back to my channel, everyone. So glad to have you back. Thank you for the love and subscribing. Now, today, I'm going to talk about my weight loss journey. I know some of you guys have seen me through the years and think that she's always been fit. She's always been small. And that's partly true. Up until the age of 23, I didn't actually start gaining weight. And I was pre-diabetic before the age of 23, even though I was extremely thin. Plus I had a thyroid problem. So my weight was significantly low for my age. But when I got into some relationship with an Indian guy, his parents would not stop feeding me. They kept saying, you need to eat, or it's an insult if you don't eat our food. So I would eat. And eventually I went up to, I want to say 125. But when I met him, I was maybe 102 pounds. Maybe. I always stayed in the range between 98 pounds to maybe 103. Probably less. And a lot of why I had issues gaining weight was because I grew up in a home where not only were they extremely fat phobic, but my mom gave me hell for eating food. She'd give me dirty looks if I wanted to go for a second plate. I didn't grow up in a house where your mom is like, here's dinner, eat. Let's all eat as a family. And even when my mom kind of tried to attempt that, through my stepdad, because he thought, oh, this is a great way we could talk and also read the Bible, it always turned into an argument because I wasn't necessarily believing in all the things that they were talking about. So that was the thing. And so I could never gain weight. I experienced a lot of emotional abuse from my parents, and that also contributed to me not eating any food. Sometimes I would just rot in bed for days. And the only time I would get up is to drink some Tampico and maybe chew on an apple, and that's it. And I remember one time I ended up in the hospital because I fainted. And the doctor asked me if I was trying to myself. And I said no. He checked, my health, and when he ran some tests, he saw that I had a thyroid problem. And then years later, kind of the same thing happened. I kept regurgitating everything I ate. Not because I was making myself, but my body was rejecting food. And I find out that I'm pre-diabetic as I am passing out in my living room. And my stepdad's worried, so he takes me to the hospital because he thinks I'm going to die. And so when I was around 23-ish, that's when I met a guy who really encouraged me to eat more, especially because he's Indian. His family would have me over and they're like, you need to eat, you need to eat, you need to eat. And so I ate. And I had some weight blindness. People talk about makeup blindness, eyebrow blindness. I'm sure I have a bunch of blindnesses, but in this case, it was weight blindness. So when I went up to 125, I didn't notice until everyone around me was like, yo, you're kind of filling out pretty nice. You're getting thick. You're getting, And I did not know. I legitimately, I had no idea. When I looked in the mirror, I felt the same. Yeah, I took a couple pictures here and there and I was like, I look kind of different. I look kind of like a baby face. My face looked more childlike. But then again, I was also young, so I still had a lot of those youthful features. And so that's when I realized, oh, I can gain weight. But then it started hitting me, oh my gosh, I don't want to get out of control, because all the things that my parents were saying were running back in my mind. Don't get fat. Don't get big. Don't do not. Look at those women walking down the street. You don't want to look like those women. Look at how your women. my stepdad would always say, look at how Latino women get. And he's Latino, but he's like, you guys have a kid and then you guys get big. I had a kid. I didn't get big. I stayed quite small. That became something that I was hyper aware of for a while. I would say about a year. I was very hyper aware of not getting bigger. So I stayed at 125 for a while until I hit about 27 years old, and I was going up in weight. Went from 127 to then when I was hitting my 30s, I went back to I think like 125, and then I jumped up again to 130 something. And I was like, okay. And I remember just being so depressed about it because I would work out every day. Every day I would work out. I was eating healthy. I was not trying to eat late or eat any junk or have any rice. But the weight wouldn't come off. And by the time I hit 33, I was at a solid 140, 130 something, 138. And that's when I started panicking because, again, no matter what I did, the weight wasn't coming off. But I didn't realize how much emotional eating I was doing. Like, yeah, I'm doing okay for this week, but then on the weekend, I'm binge eating. I feel like I can eat whatever I want because everybody says, oh, it's your cheat day. It's your cheat day. It's the weekend. It's the cheat day. But that one cheat day could ruin everything. And I had no idea. I didn't have any knowledge about the metabolic system and any of that jazz. I just thought weekdays you eat healthy, weekends you binge. So here I am, about to be 35, and I hit my breaking point because when I went to 140 something, because again, my weight is fluctuating a lot. When I went to 140 something, from the ages of like 30 and 33, I was going in between 138, 140, Then I just started, as I was getting older, the pounds were just, they were piling on. I really don't know. Well, I do know. I couldn't stop eating coconut chocolate candies. Okay? And every time I had a chance, I would stop at a taco spot or a hamburger joint or whatever to have a craving. And I would think because it's a small portion, it's not going to do anything. But I'm also a night owl. So if I'm eating two, 3 times a day and then eating in the middle of the night, it's not helping my cause. So here I am at 34 years old and I'm at 145. Now again, I have a lot of people saying I look great, but when I went to the doctor, they tell me, hey, you have high cholesterol. And I'm like, what? My mom has high cholesterol and I'm nowhere as big as she is. But they're telling me I have high cholesterol. So I'm worried. I am worried. I'm going into, I need to fix this mode. And that's when Ozempic came in. Now, I didn't take Ozempic. I saw the craze. I saw it all over TV. I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna solve all my problems. And I literally obsessed over Ozempic for about a year. I could not stop thinking about Ozempic. I thought about it every single day. Every single day. I could not stop obsessing. And I was doing research, and as the more research I was, whether it's on YouTube or on Google or on Reddit, people were saying things like they were getting stomach paralysis or bad diarrhea or they wouldn't eat for days. And I was like, I'd rather, not eat for days and use the bathroom a lot than be this big. And again, to you, 140 something isn't big, but to me, it's a lot. Everything was hurting. My back was hurting. My feet was hurting. You know, my shoulder, everything was hurting. And then I was always lethargic. Of course, the food contributes to that, but also the weight that I was carrying. Here I am trying to figure it out. I started doing the apple cider vinegar shots at night so I wouldn't get any cravings. I'm like, maybe this is going to offset the acids that make me hungry at night. And then I would work out and, you know, I would do stretches, do some Pilates workouts, go to the gym, all that. The weight wasn't dropping. I mean, it was dropping, but not fast enough. And so I had to make a very serious decision with a lot of research. I went to my doctor and I was like, listen, this is what it is. I can't lose the weight. I feel horrible. I've done everything I can. I don't think I could control my hunger, and I don't know why. So I got on Monjaro. Now, taking Monjaro taught me so much about myself that I didn't know that I didn't. Like, things about myself that I had no idea were actually the problem. So for instance, I really didn't think I was emotionally eating. I really didn't think. I thought that I was just eating because I was hungry and I was out and about and I could smell the food. And, you know, I'm thinking the distance between here and there, I don't want to cook, whatever. But I was emotionally eating. I was constantly thinking about the things that I was procrastinating on every time I did eat anything out or candies or whatever. I was thinking about things I wasn't doing. Like, for example, a YouTube video, a TikTok, working on my scripts because I'm a writer, just doing things that I'm supposed to do, right? I was constantly stressing about what I need to be doing with my life. And also, this is another thing. I had quit smoking weed and I had quit drinking alcohol. So food became an addiction. It replaced the alcohol. It replaced the weed. And I didn't think about it that way at all. I just thought, I mean, food is food, like, big deal. But it became something that I thought about every single day, kind of like the way I thought about marijuana and alcohol. Like, it was the first thing I thought about in the morning and at night. Mainly the weed. The alcohol, not so much. But the weed, yes. And so I had to figure out how to cancel out that food noise. So when I took Monjaro, that's exactly what happened. The food noise, gone. I could barely hear food. Like, I could drive by a billion restaurants and I did not smell the food. And if I did get a whiff of it, it didn't attract me. Now, the downsides of taking Monjaro was there were times where I went 2 days without eating. I would literally just have some water and maybe a piece of fruit, kind of like when I was younger. And that made me think, oh my God, am I creating the same eating disorder I had when I was younger with this? But no, that's not what it was. I was trying to get the best bang for my buck by, oh, well, Monjaro is helping me lose weight, so let me help it by starving myself more. Because even though you don't get food noise, you still get like headaches, or you do still feel hungry. You just don't feel like you want to devour a full course meal. Over time, I started seeing results and I was getting more confident. But I was also seeing with Monjaro, the things that I was addicted to doing, it was sort of, there was different things that I was doing, either compulsively. I was a little bit more messier too. Monjaro sort of like woke me up, made me be more proactive about the things that I said I was going to do. I wasn't as distracted. I don't know if it helped with my ADD. I mean, I know quitting smoking helped regulate my thoughts, but Monjaro also sort of helped me get rid of some of the bad habits I had, like leaving stuff on my chair or not organizing my desk or, not going on my bike rides. It's almost like my life genuinely revolved around food, and I really didn't know it. And yes, I do believe the food here in America is super addictive. That's why I want to get the hell up out of here, because I want to move somewhere where the food is healthier. The food here, So I went when I started the whole weight loss journey by myself, when the pounds were really high, it was 152. Then I was able to get to 145 on my own. And then at 145 or 143, something like that. And I'm bad with math, y'all. I have ADHD and dyscalculia. So forgive me, because I'm horrible with numbers and memorizing numbers. I ended up going to get the shot, and then 3 months later, I'm 115. I haven't been 115 since I was probably 20 years old. That's insane. Insane. I'm going to show you what I look like now. So this is how I look now. Let me move my chair back. This is how I look now. I never thought I would be able to reach the weight that I'm at now. Genuinely, because the amount of times I would think about food was driving me crazy. I mean, I thought about food the second I woke up in the morning. I would think about food when I'm on the phone. I would think about food when I'm at the gym. I would think about food when I was sleeping. I would dream about food. I remember one time I was dreaming about chicken. Was it chicken nuggets? No, it was chicken from Publix. And when I heard my partner say, "Hi, I got some chicken from Publix," I rose like Count Dracula for that chicken. And I am very hard to wake up. I am not a morning person at all. But I wanted that chicken. I wanted it. And so if you're going to go on this journey, if you want to get on Monjaro, you're going to learn a lot of things. And one of these things is your addiction to food is way worse than what you thought. That, and what I learned is that I may have body dysmorphia. And I know that I do, because I've had friends sort of tell me, "No, but you look okay. No, but you're fine though. No, but your nose is fine. No, but your arms are okay. Relax." And I'll worry so much about my arms and this and that. Even when I was, in 130s, 120s pounds, right? And I realized that when I look in the mirror, and even now when I look in the mirror, it's starting to sit in that I'm at this weight. But just as of recently, because last week I was looking in the mirror and I was like, I'm not skinny enough. I'm not skinny enough. And it's crazy because a month ago I was feeling like, I want to be healthy. The reason I'm doing this is because I genuinely want to be healthy. I genuinely want to keep these pounds down. I don't want to get overboard. And what if I decide I want to have another child one day? It's going to be so hard to get the weight down. I want to be able to fit him into my nice clothes. I want to be able to book certain jobs because I fit the role. And, there were so many jobs that I tried to apply for, and they were looking for someone that was a size 2, a size 1, a size 0. And at the time, I was a size 6 and I just couldn't fit. And there's nothing wrong with being a size 6. It just wasn't working for me. It was making me feel very uncomfortable, not just because of my body feeling terrible and my health declining, but when I looked in the mirror, I did not like what I saw. And I think in part, like I said, it's growing up with like a family who is so fat phobic, and also having a mom who made me feel like shit for the way I looked. And when I was gaining weight, I started to look more like my mom. And I was like, there's no way in hell I'm gonna let this happen. So yes, you are going to realize that you might be a little dysmorphic, okay? That you have an obsession with food that you didn't think you had before. And you will also see that you have very obsessive patterns with other things, but you don't notice it, because it's almost like if you can't have your food right now, then something else replaces that addiction to comfort you. And for me, it was just playing on my phone, or just doing things that were irrelevant, things that didn't matter, things that weren't important. And so I just want to tell you, if you want to get on Monjaro, do it because there is a health risk, right? You have a health risk. You have something that is important for you to reverse, like diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. You're having these issues because you cannot stop eating. Yes, that's when I recommend you getting on Monjaro. But if you're just doing it because I just want to be ultra skinny, then I think that you might do what I did, which is try to max it out, which is not eat for 2-3 days, drink a little bit of water, and then when you go to the bathroom to use it, literally water is just coming out of your body. And then when you're trying to run, or like for example, when I try to fence, I'm exhausted in 5 minutes. Literally 5 minutes. When I was trying to go up the stairs, I was exhausted. Now I eat in the mornings, I have some tea, I have some fruit, I go on a bike ride, I do my fencing, I try to get active, and I work on the things that I've been procrastinating on. And I make sure that when I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, I'm gonna love myself through everything. If I end up gaining all the weight back, it's because I didn't control my eating habits, and I have some things that I'm obsessing about, and I'm also procrastinating on things that I should be doing, and it's causing me a lot of depression. A lot of people say this saying, which, it's sometimes people hear and they're like, what the hell does it mean? When they say, you got to get out of your own way. And in this case, I had to get out of my own way, right? I had to first start creating the healthy cycles, which is, working out, eating right, so I could create the momentum. So when I take Monjaro, I feel like, hey, I'm working with Monjaro. It's not just, it's working for me and I'm going to sit back. But you hear the saying, you got to get out of your own way. And if you're an imaginative person, you're going to think that means the person I am today, or the person I don't want to be, I need to put them to the back, and then I need to step forward, or the better version of myself needs to step forward. And yes, I guess I get it, but you're almost saying like the version of yourself in the past isn't good enough. And when you do that, you dismiss your struggles. You dismiss what you've gone through and where or how far you've come to be where you are. You dismiss the good and the bad. You dismiss it all. And so I think the best thing to say, instead of, just getting out of your own way, it's more like, I think I wrote this down. Let me see if I have it in my notes. Okay, I got it right here. So unless you're an imaginative type of person, you can see it as your now self standing in front of you and you pulling the version of yourself behind so you can move forward. And that in a way is dismissing everything that you've been through and who you are right now. The good, the bad, the ugly, right? So to me, getting out of your own way is trusting yourself. Why do you need to trust yourself? So trusting yourself creates a deep intimacy with your being. You will know your life's philosophy, your mantras, your boundaries, your flexibilities, your capabilities, and your character. And when someone asks you to describe yourself, you won't hesitate, or you won't be left with conflicting feelings about who you really are. The deep intimacy you create by getting out of your own way, or in other words, trusting yourself, will enable your ability to retain and maintain a strong understanding of yourself and the world around you. When you trust yourself, you make space to discover and reinforce, encourage yourself to do the things you have always dreamed of. And life is just opportunity, relationships, and time. That's what I wrote. And so I wrote that down the other day because I was really thinking about it. I was like, I was not only getting in my own way, but I wasn't trusting myself. I was relying on this shot that I first heard of, that it's gonna fix me. But now, no, I have to trust in myself and know that I'm gonna make the right choices when it comes to my body, when it comes to my health. Because those were the choices I made in the beginning. The choices that I made in the beginning through this weight loss journey is what got me in this situation in the first place. I thought I could do all this other stuff and get away with it. And I think that there's also a fine line between trusting yourself blindly and trusting yourself with actual proof, right? If you trust yourself with actual proof that you can achieve, etc., then yes, trust yourself. But when you see over and over that you keep making shit mistakes, you keep making shit decisions, you need to get help. And that's what I did. I knew I was making shit decisions. Even though I was trying to get better, I was still making poor choices with my health. And I wanted to trust myself the way I trusted myself when I quit smoking and drinking. And with food, I just couldn't do that, unfortunately. So if you want to get on Ozempic or Monjaro, you have to know that this takes work if you want to maintain this. You can't just think that the medication is going to do all the work and you're going to get away scot-free. And then once you're off of it, you're going to stay perfect. It's not going to happen. You have to maintain it. You got to eat right. You got to work out. You got to meditate. You got to stretch. You got to put things that are your priorities first, for real this time. Because I cannot tell you how much me not doing the things I was supposed to do for my future, like getting enrolled in school, getting my act together, how that impacted my mental health. Like that would make me so depressed that I would sit there and eat 5 pieces of chocolate, 2 bags of chips, then wash it down with some fries and a Coca-Cola, and then go out, have the nerve to go out and have 4 or 5 tacos and wash it down with another soda. Like, no. So get serious. Of course, everything has its side effects. Do your research. Have a good doctor. I have an amazing doctor here in Winter Garden in Florida. Amazing doctor. If you want her information and you're in Orlando, I'll be happy to connect you with her. She's Jamaican, and she takes care of me so good. And also one of my friends recently started going to her and made her primary doctor because she was treated like gold, like so good. And I'm so happy for her too, because she's also going on this journey and she's realizing a lot of her habits too. So there's so much to learn through this journey. But before I wrap this up, just love yourself. even though you're making mistakes, even though you're dropping the ball on yourself. And I know it's hard to love yourself when you're doing these things, but just like when people say, be patient, but during this patient period of your life, be happy, be kind, same thing. During this process, I know it's not easy. I know that you are looking at yourself in the mirror, you don't like what you see, but still be loving and kind and pleasant to yourself, because you will make the journey so much more harder if you aren't kind to yourself and show yourself grace, because it is hard to wake up in the morning. It is hard to do it all. It is hard to have all these distractions and not drop the ball. Not everyone is strong. And I wasn't strong. So that's why I got on it. So yeah, I hope that you like this video and you find it informative. And oh yes, the costs. I don't have insurance. Well, I do have insurance, but it just wouldn't cover that. I had to have diabetes for it to cover it. And so I was spending $650 for 4 shots. Not each shot is $650. It's just 4 vials, $650 for 3 months. But it's worth it. I feel great. I feel amazing. But just because I feel great and amazing doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing the work. So you already know that. So yes, love yourself. Be graceful to yourself. Be demure. Be cutesy. Be kind. You know, don't do too much. Don't do too little. Be mindful. Be demure. I love that word. It's been going around on TikTok. So anyways, I hope you like this video. If you have any questions, just put it in the comments, and peace.